Love bees. I love bees. I love bees. I love bees.
Around the same time Durga starts spying on Jan, she also starts spying on Kamal Zaman, the brother to her brain donor Yasmin. She doesn't know why she does it, she just finds him very interesting for some reason. While Jan's storyline is kind of a superhero origin story, Kamal's is more of a romantic comedy. Keeping in character with most rom-coms, it's also got some anti-feminist content. Kamal is a nerdy medical student on a date with a girl he's trying to impress with a fancy restaurant. He's clueless about romance to an ambiguously autistic degree, and he's got an earpiece so he can covertly receive dating tips from his roommate Hiroyuki, who's equally clueless and just reading chapter titles from a how-to book. The girl walks out on him, leaving him with the bill. Kamal's a financially challenged immigrant to Earth from the planet Coral, so this hits him harder than others. There's this whole subplot about racism that I won't get into very deeply, but suffice it to say that Kamal's discriminated against because he's from Coral and not a native Earthling. He's insecure about his ability to make money, and he acts within the patriarchal notion that men should provide for their spouses by being the breadwinners. He takes a girl to a fancy restaurant as a way of demonstrating his supposed ability to provide, and his insecurity with money ties into his insecurity with getting a girlfriend, which is partially tied into the prejudice against non-native people. His traditional mother from Coral sets him up with a Coral girl named Sophia, who also immigrated to Earth. He again shells out the credits for a fancy restaurant, but the date's already doomed. Sophia can't date him because she already has a boyfriend, a rich gangster named Aiden. She can't tell her mother that she's dating someone from Earth, though, so she pretends to be single. Kamal decides to just enjoy the evening as a social outing with someone from Coral, until he starts to suspect that Aiden's cheating on her. After that, he tries to take her away from Aiden. He probes enough to determine that she has her own suspicions, and then he brings up that when he thought his girlfriend was cheating on her, he hacked into her chatter to spy on her. Much like what Durga's doing right now, he's able to use his hacking abilities to impress her, and he sets up a program to record Aiden to let her spy on him.
Is this what you always do to impress girls?
You see why my mother makes all my dates?
While weird, Kamal's intelligence is his strength, and his hacking skills give him a practical ability that makes him attractive. When Sophia finds out Aiden is cheating on her, she conspires with Kamal to humiliate him in front of the girl he's with, and then Kamal's afraid that Aiden might want to take revenge. When Aiden corners him, he instead offers Kamal a job doing freelance work.
Free as in paid, dude. As in I would pay you money to use your powers for good instead of...
Spying on you?
that.
Aiden explains that he made up with Sophia, and she'd be fine with Kamal working for him. He bought her an expensive bracelet, and he suggests that this might be Kamal's problem.
You think I bought her off?
It's an expensive bracelet.
If you think she's a
Don't
whore...
say it.
If I had given her that before we made up, Sophie would have run me through with a butcher knife.
Good. I mean...
You didn't want to be disappointed.
There's a concept in feminism called the Madonna-whore dichotomy, deriving its name from the Freudian complex. In this dichotomy, men see women as either Madonnas or whores, essentially saints or sluts. The Madonnas are the kind seen fit for marrying because they're pure, while the whores are seen as tainted and only attractive as sexual partners. When Aiden gets Sophia the bracelet, her worth as a potential romantic partner for Kamal is put into question, because she could be a slut and only staying with Aiden for his money and not his romantic character. Even though Kamal's sensibilities make him not want to hear Aiden say whore in relation to Sophia, this apparently was an accurate description of his thoughts. Once it's revealed that Aiden and Sophia made up before the expensive present, Sophia's worth is assured. Aiden invites Kamal over to his house for dinner to consider the job. Hiro warns Kamal against going there because Aiden might try to take revenge. He sets up a backup plan to escape in case it turns out to be a trap. Hiro will listen in on the conversation, and if Kamal says the code phrase, he'll hit a button sequence on the chatter to cause the police to rush to Kamal's location, because they'll think a fellow officer is in trouble. So Kamal agrees to go to Aiden's house. Sophia cooks a delicious traditional Coral meal of lamb meatballs. As food has been rationed, likely since the Covenant glassed harvest, the use of real meat serves as a reminder of Aiden's wealth. More on that in a moment. Kamal agrees to work for Aiden if he forges visas for Kamal's family so that they can come to Earth. To test out his ability to work under pressure, Aiden asks Kamal to hack into government servers to create a false identity for an illegal immigrant. At the same time, a crooked cop working for Aiden comes by and starts hassling them. Needing the cop to go away, Kamal tells Hiro to hit the button sequence in reverse, causing the police to all converge on Hiro's location. Once the cop leaves, Kamal breaks his cover to yell at Hiro to ditch ditch the chatter and run. Aiden's impressed by his foresight, but assures him that he's not the type to take revenge. Kamal excuses himself so that he can apologize to his roommate. Hiro rants at him, but is placated when Kamal gives him the leftovers because real meat is a delicacy in 2552. Kamal also gives Hiro his chatter. Because Durga uses chatters to spy on people, she arranges to have Kamal win a new chatter in a raffle. She credits his account with having purchased a raffle ticket the night he bought some beer, and he just assumes that he forgot about entering the raffle. The next week, Kamal invites Sophia over for dinner as a friendly gesture, even though he's still got romantic interests that he won't admit to. To impress her, he tries to cook a whole chicken by himself. As it turns out, Kamal is a lethal chef. He has no aptitude for cooking, and you'd likely die if you ate his chicken.
Few things in nature are as misunderstood as the playful salmonella bacterium.
This is a comedy trope, generally used with a female character to question her worth. This can be seen with the character Akane from the anime series Ranma 1/2. It's rather anti-feminist, drawing from traditional notions of the wife having the role of cooking for the husband. Used with the character Kamal, it's slightly different but still anti-feminist. Rather than questioning a woman's worth as a wife, it instead reaffirms the notion that men are not good cooks.
Next time you want chicken, you buy it and call me and I'll come over and cook it for you.
Deal.
Because the chicken's a health risk, they go out for halal/kosher pizza instead. It's a little ambiguous whether they're supposed to be Muslim or Jewish. Their names make it sound like they're Muslim, but there are Jewish mother stereotypes in here. Anyway, the conversation turns to Kamal's sister Yasmin, who died a long time ago.
The night before the accident, she had convinced herself there were bad guys or burglars creeping around outside our house. I read her to sleep. The last time I ever...
We don't have to talk about this.
It's okay.
I didn't mean to.
It's okay.
Kamal tries to joke about it, but Sophia insists that he remain serious and let out his emotion. Though women generally find it socially acceptable to become emotional and cry, men are expected to remain stoic in the same situations. While acknowledging this social trend, I Love Bees lets Sophia indicate that it's not good to remain stoic about truly painful things like your sister dying. As such, it's a little progressive. It also establishes Sophia as emotionally supportive, which is a valuable trait in a love interest. Kamal tries to make the event more romantic, but Sophia says that it wouldn't be right, and Kamal reluctantly agrees. Next week, Aiden approaches Kamal with a job. His totally legitimate tax-paying gangster associate, Mr. F, runs a casino, and needs help catching some guys cheating him.
How do you know they're counting cards?
Because they win too much. The question is, how are they cheating? They don't stay at the same table. They don't move around in any predictable pattern.
Aiden promises to get visas for his family, so Kamal agrees despite being terrified of the organized crime element. Kamal hacks into the cheaters' private communications so that he can monitor their cheating and feed them false information to make them break even. When Kamal, Aiden, and Mr. F overhear them making derogatory comments about immigrants, Kamal's ready to shrug it off, but Aiden and Mr. F make a point to support Kamal by calling out the racism.
One thing makes me want to face peel a guy, it's intolerance.
Mr. F then makes Kamal an offer to make the cheaters lose more than they stole and put them in debt with the casino. If he does, Kamal will get a significant percentage of the earnings. Kamal agrees, and he's paid in poker chips that he can cash out at the casino. It turns out to be quite a lot of money. Winner, winner, can't make a chicken dinner. Kamal, Hiro, and Sophia delight in inspecting the poker chips. The next week, Aiden comes to Kamal with a get-rich-quick scheme, cloning pop stars so that they can make public appearances without actually having to be there.
Aiden, what are we going to do with our clones when the original isn't famous anymore? Have you thought about any of this stuff?
Thought about it. I've got investors.
Investors?
What I need is a feasibility study.
Feasibility study?
Despite this being very illegal, Kamal agrees. In explaining to Aiden exactly why the clones are not usable, he realizes that clone degeneracy exactly matches what happened to Yasmin, meaning that she was kidnapped and replaced with a clone. He runs out on Aiden to seek the emotional support of Sophia.
Yasmin, where was she, Sophie? If that was a flash clone in my house, where was my sister? Waiting for me to come and get her, Sophie. Waiting for me to come and get her. And I never came.
Come on.
I never came.
On the trail of an Oni conspiracy, Kamal becomes very suspicious of everything in his life. He realizes that he didn't enter the raffle, meaning that someone sent him the chatter to spy on him. When Sophia comes to talk to him, he talks about his plan to go off the grid. In 2552, the United Earth government keeps track of all its civilians with digital chips of some kind. While I think it's technically legal for people to turn off their chips, the system is set up so that no one would want to, because you need to have your chip on to get all the privileges of living in society, like making digital transactions and using automated doors. Kind of the issues currently going on with Facebook.
And presto, now I'm offline. As far as the grid knows, I just disappeared.
As Sophia came over as an illegal immigrant, she knows what it's like to live off the grid, and she urges Kamal against it.
You don't know what it's like to be off the grid.
Sophia then tells him that the police caught Aiden and cancelled most of his acquired visas, including hers. If they catch her, she'll be sent back to Coral. They have a fight about Coral when Sophia says she hates its overly patriarchal culture that would make her be a housewife like her mother. She doesn't say it in quite those terms, but yeah. And they each storm off angrily. When Kamal gets home, Hero informs him that the Covenant glassed Coral. Sophia comes over and breaks down, saying she didn't mean it.
Oh my god, I didn't mean it. You know I didn't mean it.
No.
Oh no. Please, can I stay here tonight?
Sure.
Please, please, can I stay here? Please. Mama!
This creates a parallel to when Sophia comforted Kamal. As Sophia will now be sent to an internment camp, she and Kamal decide to go off the grid and make a run for it, but she'll try to bail out Aiden first. She's caught by immigration and arrested, and Kamal assumes she ran off with Aiden, so Kamal leaves to track down the people spying on him. While traveling across the country, he uses his medical skills to provide aid for people who can't afford the proper hospitals. He stays briefly with a young woman named Isabel, who immigrated from Mamor. Isabel's fascinated by him, thinking he's a sexy criminal on the lam. He insists he's not, but that's exactly what a criminal would say.
So, are you gonna tell me why you're on the lam?
Fell in love with the girlfriend of the wrong guy.
That sounds romantic.
Not really. She went back to him.
The slut?
This, again, is an expression of the Madonna-whore dichotomy. The notion of a slut is a social construct used to demean women who have an interest in sex that goes beyond the restrictive patriarchal ideals for relationships. Because of internalized sexism, women often employ this epithet as a way to cast themselves as better than other women, because men will see them as more valuable. In this context, Isabel doesn't know anything about the exact circumstances of Sophia going back to Aiden. She has an attraction to Kamal and thinks that Sophia should have left Aiden to be with him because Isabel perceives Kamal as being more attractive than the other guy, and she uses the term slut to shame the figure of Sophia for abandoning who she sees as the worthier guy. Her conversation with him has a lot of flirting anyway, so it's possible she's hoping Kamal will become interested in her. It's realistic, but not very feminist. Kamal continues on his way to New Jersey to confront the people spying on him. As can be predicted, his storyline then intersects with Jersey's, so I'll pause and come back to him once I've caught up with Jersey. Next part, Herzog and Ronnie.
Bees. I love bees. Bees. I love bees. I love bees. I